Hello, my name is Judy. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about how one person can make a difference. And before I get started, if you wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button, and maybe you want to ring that little bell so you get some more notifications when I do upload a new video. This subject is just so near and dear to me because a lot of people, especially in the world the way we are today, there's a war in Ukraine at the moment. There's always a war somewhere, isn't there? And we're shooting each other at crazy amounts. Just so many people always shooting people. And it seems like somehow with all of the yucky stuff, I don't know if most of us recognize what a big difference we can make, And it doesn't have to be something big. I mean, in your everyday life, when you smile at somebody or you offer to help them with something, you're making a difference. You're changing the world one little step at a time. And I think it's always worth it to be kind. But sometimes a group of people doing something small, meaning each one of us doing something, just one thing, can make a difference. And I'll tell you a story. So years ago, I think I mentioned in 1997, I had a friend who passed away. That really changed my life. But before and a little after, for a few years after he passed away, I was working with an organization that he had created that planted trees, and you'd give them $1 and they would plant a tree wherever you wanted. And there were lists, you could, this particular country or this particular state or whatever is in need of trees because of clear cutting or something that had happened. And so you could choose one of the necessary places, one of the places that they suggest, or you could just say, I want a tree to be planted in a local park near my house. Didn't matter, it was $1. And most of the trees were either purchased very cheaply or they were donated by lots and lots of different organizations. This was a global organization, and it wasn't well known, to be honest, but it was a very nice thing to do. So what I did was I would go and speak to people. Usually they were schools. Sometimes it was a high school and I would be at an assembly. Other times it was littler kids, and I really liked working with the younger kids or Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, things like that. Because I always think when you catch them early, if you can really let them understand, it'll make a difference in their life, So what I used to do, I used to do a little game with the kids to help them understand what clear cutting was and animal habitats being lost and things like that. But I always would say, all it's going to cost is $1 to plant a tree. And by this time they were like really wanting to because they saw the clear cutting thing and the animals not having enough places to live and all that. So they really, really wanted to give that $1. And so I said, imagine if you give me $1, and I would say to one kid, if you give me $1, I can plant one tree. But if everybody in your class gives me $1, how many kids are in this class? And they'd say, 28 or whatever. I can plant 28 trees if all you have to do is give me $1. You don't have to give me $28. Every single one of you gives me $1. I can plant 28 trees. And I'd go, yeah, And then I'd say, and just think, if everybody in your house, your sisters, your brothers, your mothers, your fathers, whoever lives with you, if they all gave me $1, I would have a lot of money. And they go, oh yeah, that'd be this, I had 3, I have 5, And then I'd say, now, it can even be more. Because what if everybody in your classroom or in your school gave me $1? And they were like, oh yeah. They were like, oh, they really liked the idea. And then I would say, what if all their families gave $1? Just think how many trees we could plant a forest. And they'd be like, yeah, yeah. They were really into it, you know. And then I reminded them that they hadn't done very much. They just gave me $1. But as a group, we built a forest. And I think it was a good thing because so often when things are going wrong in the world, we forget. It just seems so big that we don't think we can do anything to change it. But we don't have to do anything big. There are people who do big things. But we don't have to. We can just do one small act, one small thing, and it can change the world. And plus you'll feel good about it, you know. As you may know, maybe you don't know, depends on whether you watched all the videos or not, but I'm sure early on, maybe in the very first video where I introduced myself or something, I talked about Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers, one of my heroes really, he saved me, you know. Growing up, I didn't feel very good about myself most of the time. There was a lot of times when I thought something might be wrong with me. I was ugly, I was stupid, you know, whatever. And, you know, that all came from stuff I was being told. But Mr. Rogers always told me that I was special and I was perfect exactly the way I was. And Mr. Rogers doesn't know this. He's passed away, of course. He's the one that kept me going because I believed him. He seemed very genuine to me. I just never doubted that he meant it. And I know he was talking to a million other kids too, but I felt like he was talking just to me, you know? It made a difference. He made a difference by talking to one child at a time. He didn't go, you know, sometimes he'd say boys and girls, but most of the time he'd say, do you think this and that? You know, he'd act like he was just talking to you. And as I grew up, of course, I knew that he wasn't just talking to me. And in fact, I would watch Mr. Rogers even when I was in high school because he always made me feel special. He changed my life. And he was just talking to one little boy or girl at a time. I mean, you don't have to be on TV to change somebody's life. But this was a very authentic, gentle, honest man who cared about children. And one child at a time. I know he made a difference. I know I'm not the only one who felt better about themselves because he said I should. Because he did. You have no idea what kind of a difference you're going to make in somebody's life just by saying something kind, or just by helping out or acting like you care, or even trying to care, but certainly just listening to what they have to say and really, really listening. Not just think about what you want to say next, but really listening. And that kind of love humans are capable of. It's innate. You know, it's ancient, the love we own. We just have to be willing to let it out. So knowing that you are soul in a human body, bring the soul out. Let it shine a little bit. You can make a difference. Thanks for listening.